Hey guys, we are live here on Calcio Connection YouTube and on Twitter. A lot has gone down in the last several days with the Nerazzurri. Jerry Mancini is going to be hopping in a few moments. Like 10 minutes ago, this dude said, "Oh, hold on, I've got to take a pee," and then it's the longest urination in history. I hope he's all right. I hope he didn't fall in or something. So he's going to be around soon. Alex Donno alongside our very good friend. We do so many cross streams and cross promotions with Anthony at Privatere on Twitter from Inter Worldwide. And Anthony, the last time, now we speak sometimes, through messages and stuff, but I think the last time that we spoke face to face and voice to voice, the complexion of the Nerazzurri was so different because the last time that we did a stream together, we had no clue whatsoever that Romelu Lukaku might be sold. Like it wasn't even a thought in our heads because all summer we'd heard from Lukaku how happy he was. And we heard these lies from Suning about how there was only going to be one big sale, and they made that big sale with Hakimi, and that everything was business as usual. And then here we are today, and believe me, this stream is not going to be all negative. There are obviously we don't really know what's positive until we actually see games that count being played on the pitch. Inter did win a friendly today against Padma, but until the season really gets going, we'll have a better idea of the direction of the club. But not everything is going to be negative because there are some, potential arrivals that could be coming in that get us a little bit hopeful. So let me introduce Anthony. Anthony, I hope you've been holding up well these last few days because there has been so much negativity and so much banter surrounding Inter. And I get it. The vultures are circling around the club. How are you, sir?
Always doing well, always doing well. This is the club that we have grown to love, not so much for this reason. Hey, Jerry, nice to see you as per usual. But it is what it is, man. And as you said, it's not going to be all negative. There are ways forward. There are ways forward from this. And I think that we're going to be able to see a lot of positives this season, regardless of what's happened. So I'm looking forward to diving right into it with you both.
Yeah, and let me introduce Jerry as well. And of course, Jerry is our resident Laziale, and he's also a wealth of knowledge, of course, on Simone Inzaghi. And Jerry, I also wanted to pick your brain on Joaquin Correa. Well, there's certainly you troll. Is that why you stepped away for like 10 freaking minutes before we started the stream?
He's an absolute douchebag.
No. You should take a picture of this and put it on Twitter.
What an asshole.
Because this is fucking great.
Wait. I'll take the screenshot. I'll take the screenshot. Wait, I got you.
You got to get a screenshot.
Yeah, done.
That's great banter.
Oh.
It is.
Oh, fuck.
Bravo, sir.
Oh,
Bravo.
I don't even care. My computer wasn't freaking, what's it called? I had to do an update or.
Oh, I hate those.
Fucking stupid, man. I was like, that's why it took me forever to get on. It wasn't a long piece. Sorry.
I thought you were just looking for your Chelsea shirt.
No, I was wearing this all day, actually. Freaking. You know what? I feel bad for Inter. I really do. I know a lot of people are going to say, don't feel bad for them. Let them suffer. But you don't want to see any team go through that path. I wouldn't want to see Lotitos if we had the money, say, to sell everybody off and like just blow up the team. You don't, other than Juventus, probably, but only because I hate their owner. That's all. I don't hate the team. I just don't like their owner. That's all it is to it. But even Juventus, you don't want to see that. But you know what? I don't know what to think about Inter right now. I love the fans today though, because the money flash and everything. I gotta give respect to Inter fans though, because they don't back down. They voice the way they feel, and I think it was a very safe but respective protest they did today.
Yeah. Well, and Anthony, one of the reasons why we're so outraged. I mean, you and I are both Interista. And the amount of outrage we have, it's not strictly for the fact that they've sold Lukaku, because that would be enough to enrage me to begin with, okay? But the fact that I feel so lied to by ownership, because Suning had been, saying, through Marotta has been their mouthpiece, because Steven Jang doesn't really talk to anyone. But, they had been saying for the last couple of months that they only needed to make one sale and Lukaku is untouchable. And then all of a sudden he was touchable because as soon as Steven Jang got the idea in his head, oh, wait, Serie A record transfer fee? Wait, you're telling me we can sell this guy for 115 million. And by the way, it should have at least been 130. What happened to 130 million? It was 130 million until Steven Zhang said, you know what? Just give me 115, baby. Give me whatever piece of cash I could possibly get. So we feel manipulated and lied to. And it's why you're starting to get these fan protests and why you're getting the curva. And I'm thankful that they're doing it in a peaceful, nonviolent way, because I am not an advocate of burning shit down and creating violence. That's not the right way to solve these issues. So, be respectful, make your voices heard to a point. You don't have to actually tear the stadium down. So I'm glad that none of that is happening yet. But the thing about this, Anthony, and let me run down a couple of things that have been going on today. I wake up this morning to a couple of English reports saying that Tottenham had agreed with Inter on a 70 million euro deal to acquire Lautaro Martinez. So, of course, I wake up to that. I'm like, oh, shit, here we go again. The Suning carousel, it's churning again. Now, since that time, we've had the Fabrizios and the Di Marzios of the world coming out saying, no, it's not actually happening. So I think what happened was, Anthony and Jerry, before talks escalated for Lukaku, Inter did receive offers and they were talking with Tottenham about Lautaro. This was before Chelsea really escalated their acquisition of Lukaku. So I think that there was a plan to sell one of them, right? And then after they sold Lukaku, what's being reported is, and I hope this is true, they even Suning realized, well, we can't possibly sell Lukaku and Lautaro in the same transfer window and actually get away with it. So reports indicate the Lautaro move is not going to happen. Lautaro's agent also did come out today and say he's not leaving. He's happy with Inter, and he did indicate that there's progress being made on a contract extension, which is very good. But my thing, Anthony, is, obviously you have very good reporters reporting this story that he's not leaving, but at the same time, I don't trust Suning enough to say, oh, I guarantee you he's staying, because how do you know they're lying? Their mouths are moving, right? I mean, if they may say right now, oh, no, we're not selling Lautaro, that may be true today, may not be true tomorrow if they get a better bid.
Yeah, so Alex, my little dummy spit over being sold a jersey with a sponsor, not so amusing now, is it, my brother? Because the way that...
Well, they need more sponsors on that jersey to pay more bills, bro.
Bro, we've been finessed really well by this club, and you said it really, really well. Even Lautaro, I think, came out after the game and posted something on Instagram saying that he's staying. But, Ashraf Hakimi pointed to the badge in the pitch just before he was sold as well. Suning have done nothing but do us over. And he said it perfectly. We feel disconnected. We feel disconnected from the club as fans. In terms of the Lukaku money and how it's going to be spent, we've seen some sort of progress in the last 24 hours or so of who we can acquire and basically who we cannot. So there's a few different scenarios we can go with here. In an ideal world, because I'll just start off by saying I don't mind the signing of Edin Dzeko, as long as he's not being signed as the direct Romelu Lukaku replacement. That can't happen. Yeah. We're going to still be paying Dzeko something about like 4.5 million a season afterwards, which is just too much money. If in an ideal world you get Vlahovic and you get Dzeko, because that balances out the equation. You have your youth, you have your experience. If Vlahovic doesn't exactly hit the ground running like he did for Fiorentina, you've got the experience of Edin Dzeko to pick up the slack there. That's what Dzeko would be fantastic as. You can't get, in my opinion, Zapata and Dzeko. Where is the resale value there? There is none. We are trying to balance books. We are trying to cut wages. You can't spend 40 on a 32-year-old Zapata and take on Dzeko's contract. It doesn't make sense to me like that. In my opinion, this is where Marotta needs to wave his magic wands and start doing some deals a la Federico Chiesa to Juventus. You go up to Fiorentina, you go, look, here's 20 million, 25 million, because no one's putting money anywhere near that close up front at the moment. Even Juve haven't gone further than 5 million up front for Locatelli. They're promising to deliver the 35 in installments or whenever, but they don't want to go more than 5. They can't. They probably will find a way because, they have the dark arts. But at the end of the day, Marotta should be going up to the likes of Fiorentina and saying, we need Vlahovic. We can't pay you 60 today. Here's 25. Here's 30. That's your budget from Rom, done. The scraps that are left over, you fund Edin Dzeko with that. And there's your strike replacement sorted. Losing Romelu Lukaku is huge. getting Vlahovic and Dzeko, it's like falling off a small balcony onto a patch of flowers, man. Like, we will be okay.
Well, and the funny thing about that scenario is, and I don't want anyone to think that, oh, no, this guy's saying that they're better off without Lukaku. That's not what I'm saying. Losing Lukaku is a tragedy. But if they're able to do, Anthony, what you described, ironically enough, they would actually have more depth at striker last season because next season, I mean, because for the past 2 seasons, the fourth striker has just been worthless. It's been a black hole, right? Yeah. Because Pinamonti last year, Conte didn't trust this guy enough to play him unless it was, the Scudetto already had been secured, right? Esposito, the season before, he was like 17 years old, only played in absolute emergency. So you could actually, with Lautaro, Alexis, Dzeko, and either Vlahovic or, hopefully Vlahovic and not,
Zapata.
Yeah,
but
right.
Even if it was Zapata, this is what I was saying today. It's a shit situation, and on the books is what worries me. But in theory, if you're telling me that next season Inter goes into the season with Lautaro, Zapata, Dzeko, Satriano, Alexis Sanchez, I'm making no excuses for not scoring goals. Replacing 25, 30 goals in Rome is hard, but guess what? Antonio Conte's centerpiece was Romelu Lukaku. Everything was designed to go through him. And this is why I said we got to bring Jerry on this morning, because Jerry, I watched us play Parma this morning, and Inzaghi was fucking brilliant. Sorry for swearing, but I don't get to swear on my channel, okay?
You swear all the time.
Exactly. He was the way Inzaghi managed that game and even though he was rotating the whole squad, the way we were playing more direct horizontally and building up and giving the ball a chance to shift from man to man properly without always integrating Lukaku, because there was no Lukaku. I'm starting to think it's horrible, Jerry, but you take the 115 million or whatever stupid amount you're given for the 28-year-old, you reinvest with a little bit of depth, and you go and you back your manager, who clearly is not going to play the exact same brand of Conte football. I got a lot of faith in Inzaghi, and I think undercover, he could be the reason Inter survives the sinking ship this season, because I expect us to still finish comfortably in top 4 with the squad that we have. Because relative strength-wise, it's not like all our rivals are making 2-3 world-class signings each. Everyone's just trying to survive at the moment. Inter made the gap wide last season. We've shot ourselves in the foot and bridged it by fault of our own. It has not been bridged by the other clubs doing anything special.
Well, what do you think about the Inzaghi thing, Jerry?
Well, I think this Akbar guy is way off. I think every team is fucking broke. Let's just get that realistically out of the way, because you got Juventus, who came and purchased Locatelli for $5 million if their life depended on it, but that's beyond the point. And Atalanta is rumored to have Tammy Abraham, which would be a solid signing, because Chelsea is you know what?
I mean, the thing is, I think that only happens if Zapata comes to Inter. This is like a domino thing, Jerry. So if Zapata goes to Inter, they replace him with Abraham. If Zapata doesn't go to Inter, then they don't. Wherever
he goes, Chelsea's gonna look back and say, "We just pulled another Declan Rice," or we got rid of a guy too soon, who is basically who is good, like who could have done much more. Actually, the shirt wasn't trolling. I didn't think about it until he asked me. Like, I didn't know about the pod till like a half an hour before. But I don't know what the price is for Tammy, but Tammy's a really hell of a good striker.
40, I think. About 40.
40. He's young, though, man.
It's basically exactly what Inter would buy Zapata for that.
Makes no sense.
Maybe we should just get Tammy.
I would. I seriously would consider getting Tammy for 40 million, because he's actually a really good striker. And Chelsea, I just don't know how to use him anymore. It's sad, man, because the guy can score goals. He's got good hold up, can play off a striker. He's versatile. The guy's a good player, man. Like, it's sad because they're spending 115 million. And who's to say that Lukaku actually does well with Chelsea? Like, who's to say that he adapts? They don't play a 3-5-2. People forget that.
It's going to be a big shift, tactical-wise for him. It's going to be big. And we know what Chelsea fans and Premier League fans are like. If he doesn't score in the first 5 or 6 games, oh, man, the shithousery that's going to come with a triple-digit million figure. Oh, bro, it's bad.
But to answer your question, Inzaghi is a top 5 manager for me right now. People laugh at me because they think I overrate him because he's a Laziale. The guy understands what to do. He didn't have a bench at Lazio. There were times that he just didn't have an option, and when he did choose an option, either it worked or it didn't. with Inter, even though they lost Hakimi and Lukaku, they still have a deep bench. Like the back line, this is the best back line he'll ever get on a team. Like he's got strong players to come off the bench in a back three. The midfield's not bad. He's got Vecino now healthy this year. He didn't really play much last year. Maybe he returns to form. Like you don't know. Like I don't know. DeMarco, I only watched the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. Saw it from the 65th mark. Yeah, Satriano looked good. He scored a goal, I think, today too.
That kid looks fucking fantastic.
Can I ask this? With Satriano coming through, with DiMarco coming through, Perisic still there, Vidal, Vecino, Gagliardini, I dare say depth-wise, Inter's going into next season with 1.5 to 1.75 squads. Our squad, we seem to have like-for-like replacements now where, everybody used to say Juventus has two teams, their first and their second one. I dare say by selling off Lukaku and by bringing in another couple of players, and just remember, I don't know what's going to happen. We haven't even talked about the right wing and the right wing back
and
side
I want to get to that. Because and I apologize, by the way, to people watching, I apologize if I step on anybody. I'm on crappy hotel Wi-Fi, so sometimes like on my end, I see Anthony and Jerry lag a little bit, so I'm not sometimes sure when I can step in and when I can't. But I do want to talk a little bit about the right wingback spot. And again, you always take reports with a grain of salt until you get confirmation and until you see a club tweet it out. We are seeing stronger and stronger links now of Denzel Dumfries, the right wing back from PSV Eindhoven, to come over to Inter. There are a lot of reasons why I like this player, ability-wise, class. We all got to watch him have a good Euros with the Netherlands, a couple months ago. He was class there. I do like the fact that he's accustomed to playing in this formation. He's not a right fullback. He's a right wingback in a 3-5-2, so he's accustomed to that. Still, though, there's definitely an adjustment coming from Eredivisie to Serie A. So I think it's going to be, I don't necessarily think he hits the ground running. There could be some adaptation there, which is why it's nice to have a guy like Matteo Darmian who can play a lot while Dumfries gets broken in a little bit. But I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of upside there from that player. And in a lot of the daily doses of Inter I've done over the last couple of months, I've said it that, and obviously Hakimi, it's a tragedy to lose him as well. It seems like forever ago now that Lukaku is gone. It's like we're just eating one shit sandwich after another. So you're not really replacing Hakimi because of how gifted and how quick he was. But out of the choices of replacements at right wing back, the guys we've been talking about for months, like Bellerin and Dumfries, Zappacosta, like Dumfries has been my favorite of some of these options, for the last couple of months. So I would be thrilled with the idea of him coming in. They're rumored to be potentially closing this for a 15 million euro transfer fee. Obviously, Inter are getting a bit of a cash infusion with this horrific and tragic Lukaku sale, so that could be the guy coming in. And actually, and another, I wanted to ask Jerry about one of the forwards Inter's being linked to, but I want to get Anthony, your thoughts on Dumfries before we get to that, because again, this is a decent consolation prize, right? And it's sad that Suning will not be reinvesting all of the money they get from the Lukaku sale because they're greedy bastards and they're trying to balance the books. They're going to be reinvesting some of that money, not all of that money. But when you talk about players to reinvest in, I like a potential Dumfries move a lot.
Yeah, well, it's damage control, Alex, at the moment. That's what we're doing. We're doing serious damage control for losing two of our best players in those positions. So if we're going into next season and we can really get Dumfries for 15 million, that's a bit of a steal. I think we might be able to get something tied up there. And if we are doing that and we can still land Nandez, that rumor seems to have sort of died the last couple of days, understandably. But I still think that that's going through. Raja Nainggolan to Cagliari is stalled because apparently Besiktas are in for it. Either way, he'll be gone.
And by the way, those two stories are not unrelated, because I guarantee you the reason why Nandez to Inter has stalled is because Raja might go to Turkey, because Giulini, the Cagliari president, is going to say, if you're not going to give me Raja, I'm not giving you Nandez. Like
pretty much,
he's trying to play those games.
Yeah, we continue to get schooled by him left, right, and center, no matter what. But yeah, I'd be excited for Dumfries, man. In terms of a consolidation prize for Hakimi, he does seem the best of the bunch at the moment. Whoever it is, I just want them in yesterday. I want them in now so Inzaghi can start to work with them. None of this haggling over 2.53 million shit. And then on deadline day, you're still wondering whether or not it's happening.
Now, Jerry, when we talk about potential forwards coming in, okay, the strongest link seems to be Edin Dzeko. It looks almost for sure he's coming in, and then for the other player to come in, because Inter are going to make two striker signings, I believe. So Dzeko seems almost a given at this point. Zapata gets mentioned quite a bit. We also see Joaquin Correa now getting mentioned. Now, there are certain sources out there that are trying to make it sound like this deal is already done. I don't believe it's already done. Obviously, I would love to get Vlahovic and Dzeko if we're going to bring in two, but Correa seems at least like a possibility. I mean, Jerry, how would you feel about Correa and Inter, and how do you think he could fit playing with someone like Lautaro, who, of course, he knows very well from the international game?
At the beginning, I cared that we didn't sell to Inter. At this stage, I don't care where he goes. They just need the money to bring in the players that they're waiting to sign with the club. Filip Kostic has agreed to join Lazio. Next week, he should be signing a contract. According to Alfredo Padula, Toma Basic is waiting. And in order for these players to arrive, we need to make a sale, and it has to come from Correa. He also mentioned on his in his article just a few hours ago, I haven't tweeted it out yet because I know a few people don't follow him, but Joaquin Correa is a plan B. So in the event that Dzeko and or both Zapata do not arrive to Inter, then there is the possibility of Joaquin Correa. Now, there has been talks, but nothing in-depth discussions because of what had happened in the past or recently for obvious reasons. But I think that Correa is the right signing. Even if you sign him for $35 million, you still get him on cheaper wages compared to both. You'll probably get him for $3.5 million, which is still much cheaper. He adapts to the 3-5-2 perfect. And I know that recent people have said that he shouldn't be the guy to replace Lukaku, but you know what, man? You need a striker. He can score. He's quick. He can move. He's a good dribbler. You need something. Would you prefer Dzeko over Correa? I wouldn't personally.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't. Zapata, maybe, because you know what you're getting with Zapata, but who's to say that he's an upgrade? Because we saw last year that Zapata went hot and cold. So he wasn't consistent either. There's a lot of time that he played around good players and didn't produce. So I think that Correa is 26, I want to say, or turning 27 next week, and he's about to hit his prime. Like I think he could be I know he's a second striker. I'd like to see if he can be a main striker. I don't see why he couldn't be. He's never given the opportunity because he's always been behind Immobile and behind Caicedo, actually, because when Caicedo comes on, he is the number one striker. And I would even consider bringing in Caicedo for 1 year. For $5 million, guy can fucking score goals, man. I would take Caicedo over freaking Dzeko. People are going to laugh at me, but you know what? Caicedo makes $2 million a year. You could probably get him for less than $10 million. Like, yeah, anything is better than Dzeko, fucking pylon. But like Caicedo's good, man. Like, he understands how to play under Inzaghi. It's not like he has to transition. He understands the 3-5-2. He would play good beside Lautaro Martinez. He's the hold-up guy. He's a guy who can hold the ball up, distribute, make the passes. He does everything that Inter needs. I don't understand why they're not considering Caicedo as a plan B option. If you're going to go get Zapata or you get Dzeko, he's a good other option to bring to Inter. You can use it as a depth option, whatever you want to use him, but he's versatile, man. Like, you get Caicedo for $5 million, you get Correa for $35. There's a $40 million deal. You're saving $20 million probably on the price of two players. I know it's coming from Latito, but I'm pretty sure that he's not going to overcharge. He knows that he needs to make these sales. The money has to come in. But I think Correa would strive well at Inter. I really do. I think that he can play. He can. I just see him doing well there. That's all, man. Like he's good for the Serie A because the way he plays. EPL, I think he'd get eaten alive in the EPL. Maybe
I reckon he'd get smashed in the EPL.
He's so small. He's so small. He's not built enough for that.
in my opinion, Lautaro Martinez gets smacked up in the EPL. You've seen how quickly he goes to ground in Italy. Like, oh man, I reckon he gets pummeled in the EPL.
I would sell him. Seriously. I can get rid of him.
Not now. Not after you sell
can't now.
Lukaku.
You
can't sell him now.
Yeah,
I would love to see
before the Lukaku thing. Yeah, but it's too much to sell.
If he has a really good season under Inzaghi, and Inzaghi has shown that he's got majority of the team working, then what you do is you flip him for 80, 90 next season to Atletico or Real or whoever wants to come then. But in terms of damage control right now, he needs to stay.
By the way, I want to go.
I watched Hakimi play yesterday in PSG's game, and he looked bad. I know he scored in the first half, but he did not look good. They defended him very well.
It doesn't matter because he doesn't need to be good. He's going to get a 6.5 out of 10 every game because his team's going to score 5 goals. Exactly. Doesn't matter how he plays.
Well, and I want to get to this. We're going to wrap this one up in a few minutes, but I wanted to comment on this from Akbar because I have an opinion on this notion. I'm sure Anthony does. I'm sure Jerry does as well. Okay, he writes in, for me, Lukaku's exit is less damage to Inter than Hakimi's exit. I completely disagree. And I know Akbar is not the first person I've heard say that. I know he's not an Interista, but I've heard some Interistas say it, a lot of non-Interistas say it. Don't downplay how important Lukaku was to this squad. I mean, this guy oozed leadership in a way that Hakimi didn't. I mean, great player, tremendous talent, but, you know, as far as in the dressing room, Hakimi seemed a little bit more like a passenger than Lukaku, who was a real focal point. I mean, the mismatches that he created to opposing defenses, what was excellent. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of center backs that did a job against him the last couple of years. I really respect the way that Chiellini was able to man mark him, but other than that, he would terrorize most Serie A center backs, and he was really an iconic player for Inter, both on and off the pitch. I think Hakimi has a ton of potential with his speed. He hasn't really reached that yet, and that could be part of what Akbar's talking about. Like, he could be saying, like, hey, within the next few years, Hakimi is going to end up being absolutely world-class. We'll see. We will see, but I think as for right now, I personally, losing Hakimi felt tragic. Losing Lukaku felt like an absolute catastrophe. So I see it a different way than the way Akbar sees it. Now, I'm obviously a lot more emotionally tied to it being an Interista. So, Anthony, I want your take. Which do you think is more damaging, losing Hakimi or losing Lukaku?
Lukaku, for sure. If not for the on the pitch and the goals and the contributions and the dressing room and the mentality and the relationships he's forged, he's our most marketable player. He's Rock Nation. You're looking at Jay-Z level money and fame here. This guy is the next biggest thing to come to Italy after Cristiano Ronaldo. That's just facts. Yeah. We've sold more than just a football player in this sense, which is why, as optimistic and positive as I've been in this video, if I was to wake up tomorrow and it was all just a bad dream, fantastic still. You keep Rom. But it's over, man, and it's time to move forward. And I'm glad we had this discussion and with Jerry as well, because I'm excited for Inzaghi. I'm really excited for Inzaghi.
And Jerry, I'll give you the last word because obviously you're not as emotionally tied to it as Anthony and I are. So which exit do you think is more damaging? Because I know you've had some strong takes on how important a right wing back is to Inzaghi. So what do you think was more damaging? Lukaku going or Hakimi going?
Hakimi.
Wow.
Hakimi, man. Simone Inzaghi, okay, I know Immobile has been so productive in the last 5 seasons. But that's not because of just solely on him being able to score. He's a good finisher. Compared to what he does with Italy, I'll be honest, he can finish at all angles for Italy. But it's been the wing backs and the midfield that has contributed to how successful the 3-5-2 is. Sergei in the midfield, and then out wide, we had Maricic and Lazzari last season. And when we didn't have Sena Lulic at a healthy level 2 seasons prior, when he got hurt against Verona, we were devastated all season. We have never been able to find a legit backup to Lulic in the 5 years plus. Like it's been constant ongoing of signing players and not filling the void the right way. Finding wing backs. How many people actually use a 3-5-2? Like, I'm serious. I don't know a lot of people who adapt to the 3-5-2, but
Inter, Lazio, Atalanta.
No, Atalanta, not even Lazio anymore. Atalanta.
Oh, it's true, not anymore. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was an
3-5-2 is very rare that people use, and like the way Hakimi plays, his speed, exactly. Hakimi's speed alone is ridiculous. He's right. His ability to advance the ball upfield and open up space and kind of separate the midfield to open space up for Lukaku. It's everything around Lukaku that makes him better. It's the ball distribution he gets in the midfield. It's the wing backs that kind of drift the defenders out wide to give him that space inside the box. Like, now you're going to have to go to Darmian on the right and Perisic on the left. And then they're both decent players, don't get me wrong, but it's a massive downgrade to what you guys had last year. Like it's Hakimi alone is a big loss. I don't know, man. Like, I think DeMarco is the unsung hero for this team now. That's the guy where everybody's kind of like not is forgetting right now. That's who I really want to see, because you can probably try to make Perisic as an inverted winger, make him play on the right side. I don't know if that's possible, but you can switch him over to the right. DeMarco plays left, or you make DeMarco an inverted winger like that. That's something that Inzaghi's really good at. He did that with Perisic, where he used him on the left, and then he went from the left to becoming a center back, and now he's being used as a fullback. Like, that's something that Inzaghi is not scared to do. He will use a wing back on an opposite side if he has to, but like, DeMarco is not a downgrade. He's not an upgrade, but it's not a downgrade to like, because Hakimi doesn't play on the left. Matteo Darmian is a big downgrade compared to Hakimi, but at the same time,
he's an upgrade over Ashley Young.
He is. At the same time,
Darmian, guys, I gotta go. I'm so sorry. I gotta head off. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Jerry.
No problem, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Darmian didn't play enough last year, and I think that may be beneficial, where his minutes were limited last year, so he's kind of fresh and everything. So I don't know. I just think that wing backs are so key in a 3-5-2 that people underestimate that position a lot. You'll get the goals. The goals come from all areas. Barella can score goals. Martinez can score goals. I think the goals will come, but it all depends what kind of striker you bring in now. I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah, so just to recap the news swirling around over the last 24 hours, just so I can kind of sum it up for everyone who tuned in late. There were reports this morning about Inter agreeing with Tottenham about selling Lautaro for 70 million. Supposedly that's off. Lautaro has even said he's staying. His agent has said he's staying. Apparently that was in negotiation before Chelsea stepped up for Lukaku, and then Suning have decided, even they decided, well, we can't sell both of these guys in the same transfer window. Tottenham fans, if you're looking for someone to blame, I guess you can blame Chelsea, because if Chelsea hadn't have stepped in and strongly pushed for Lukaku, then you probably would have been able to buy Lautaro. So that's your shit luck for you. There is a lot of momentum for Denzel Dumfries coming in at right wing back for a 15 million euro fee. I'm sure we'll know more about that in the next couple of days. As far as the striker position, Edin Dzeko seems very close to the Nerazzurri. Vlahovic does not, but Inter, I understand, will be launching another bid for Vlahovic, but I'm told it's still a long shot, but they've not given up. And then there's also an agreement personally with Duvan Zapata, no agreement yet with Atalanta. And there are even some talks about Joaquin Correa coming in. So those are kind of the moving parts we're dealing with right now. So, and I love this. Gross. I'm pretty sure he's reacting to the Dzeko thing. Gross. So huge thanks to Anthony Privatere from Inter Worldwide. Make sure you guys check him out and check out his channel. And huge thanks to Jerry Mancini. And Jerry,
hey, last thing. Don't be surprised if Martinez got sold. Because
the last time,
Lukaku said, "I love this team. Let's get this straight. Hakimi, Lukaku, I love this team, and then you got fucking Martinez. I love this team. I'm going nowhere." I've come to realize that these guys all talk shit. Fucking, I can't take their word anymore. I used to be so gullible and be like, "Oh my god, this guy just said he loves this team." Like Ciro Immobile tomorrow morning, he left for Inter. I wouldn't be surprised. maybe he wants to for bigger, greener pastures to win a championship. He knows he can go there. That's an example. Guys like Sergei Milinkovic-Savic are very rare where they have turned down the opportunity to play for a bigger club and have stuck with Lazio because he loves the city, he loves the team. There are very few. The Tottis, the Zagnettis. I think Barella's safe. Maldini. I'm just saying. I know Savic is 26, but he is very mature for his age. The guy has gone on the record, and like I said, I know Lazio and Inter are not in the same boat, maybe, but Lazio could have sold him for 100 million. Take the money, but they stood by him. He's never asked to leave, and it's sad because Lukaku really could have avoided this in a way too, maybe. But I guess when you're backed in a corner, it's not easy as well. I don't really blame him.
I don't blame him either.
But I will say one thing: you really got to use the choice of your words carefully, because when you say you're committed to a team, and fans take that seriously, and there are some devoted fans who will resent him because he could have denied it. He could have said no at all costs. He could have denied this transfer. He could be still an Inter player right now. I know that they're throwing 15 million at him, and it's kind of hard to turn that down. But I'll give him that. But still, I think that you just got to use your words carefully, because what you say really reflects on you. And if you say you love a team and you want to stay with a team, and then you take off right after 2 weeks later, it's like, what the fuck is going on here, man? Seriously? It's sad, but you know what? I'm curious to see who's next. I don't think Barella's for sale. I think that's him and Bastoni are off the list. You're not going to see either of those guys go, because
they'd have to be nuts.
No,
I mean, they would. And listen, just and I know we've got Dan saying Inter would sell anyone right now.
No,
it kind of does feel that way, but I just I would be beyond shocked if they would sell, like Jerry said, someone like Barella or Bastoni. If that were the case, you might as well liquidate the club. If
exactly.
You were to sell, because these guys are relatively low wages. Obviously Bastoni, I think even more so than Barella, but early 20s, foundational pieces. You might as well liquidate the fucking club if you sell either of those guys, right?
Yeah, those are the two guys you can't sell. You sell any of those two guys, you know
Italian also, which I know that does matter to Marotta, and it matters to the marketing of the club. So listen, I don't know. I mean, listen, I can't sit here with a straight face and guarantee you anyone stays, because Suning have already broken enough promises. But I can only tell you what I think is more likely or less likely. I told you 5 minutes ago that it seems like Lautaro to Tottenham is off. But if you were to ask me who would be more likely to get sold, Lautaro or Barella, 100 times more likely Lautaro, right? So if you take it all relatively speaking, if someone else is going to go, it would be Lautaro before it would be Barella. But we got to close it out.
But just remember, Chelsea made one offer. We thought it was done. They made a second offer. We thought it was done. Mm-hmm. Who's to say tomorrow morning Tottenham doesn't come with $90 million?
No, it's Tottenham.
Right? They got money, man. Tottenham. No,
cheap
Tottenham.
Club. Cheap ass club.
Tottenham is Lazio of EPL. The difference is they actually have the money that they can spend, whereas Lazio doesn't have the money like they can spend. That's the difference. One has to be conservative with the way they spend, because they just don't have that power, where the other one chooses to be cheap, but do have the reserves to increase that offer. So just be careful. If it's possible that Spurs come up with some crazy deal, 90 million, and say, hey, let's roll. But yeah, it's true. They are fucking cheap asses.
Let me make a side comment though before we wrap it up. Because I follow some of these Tottenham transfer sagas, and I think the English media enjoys gassing up Tottenham fans so they can rip their hearts out. Because Jerry, about a year ago, and there were a ton of these supposed insider reports about how Tottenham was definitely getting Milan Skriniar. They've got this bid, they've got an agree. I kept seeing these English reports. Oh yeah, Tottenham, they've agreed with Inter to sell Skriniar. He's coming. and all these Tottenham fans that I've never met before, living in their mom's basements, were turning up in my Twitter time, like, "Oh, dude, how are you going to feel, when Skriniar comes to Tottenham?" Like, what are you talking about? Like, they were convinced it was happening, and I think they're doing the same thing now with Lautaro. I think the English media loves to freaking gas these up. Yeah, and, like he writes, Lautaro agreed to move to Spurs. The Times, and listen, again, as an Interista, I'm spurned. I cannot guarantee you with 100% certainty anyone staying or leaving. I'm just saying I'm not expecting the Lautaro thing, but we'll see. Huge thanks to everyone who tuned in. I enjoyed the comments. I enjoyed the banter. I enjoyed the insight. I'll thank again Anthony Privatere, who had to bounce a few minutes ago. Jerry Mancini. Jerry, anything you'd like to promote, sir?
J Mancini 8, and I hope things get better for Inter fans, because and I know people are going to say, "You're an Inter fan, you support Inter." See, look, apparently Spurs are increasing their offer for there. I called it, man. I fucking called it.
Right, we're gonna have to do another episode tomorrow. Oh God!
I'm telling you, man. Listen to me, man. Inter is in a vulnerable position. People are gonna take advantage of them because they know they need the money. Sunni can't wait till December when his team's already broke. I am broke. I am stupid. I am an idiot. Whoever invented that freaking that marketing, the side thing, and Nima said it perfect. I gotta give him credit. I didn't think about this when I heard it on his pod. Like, why would you promote to buy stuff the day you announce you're gonna sell Lukaku? What the frig is wrong with you? Are you stupid?
That was bad.
What the heck? It's like taking a kid's ice cream away and then trying to promote something to him. Like, what, or her? Like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Like, you know what, man? J Mancini 8, I have a piece on Maricic coming out soon. Basically, signed a 4-year contract extension, and he's locked up with Lazio, which is great. And basically why they have to sign him. Other than that, and I have a piece out actually that Tade has to step up this summer transfer market, or he is a dead man, basically.
Well, all right. So if Lautaro does get sold in the coming days, we'll do another emergency episode. How about that? I'm still not expecting it. By the way, make sure you check us out on the main Calcio Connection channel. I guess this is the main channel. This was going to be a daily dose of Inter, but we decided to go live on every platform. We are going to have another episode on YouTube on Tuesday night. We're going to have our Milan preseason roundtable. So I'm going to get bantered by Milanisti. It's going to be a very discouraging but fun experience, I'm sure. We're going to have the guys, Vinny and Steve from Milan Weekly. I love those dudes. They're going to be on with us. Gianluca is going to be on with us. Richard Carmen from Serie A Sit Down is going to be on with us. So we're going to have a good Milan preseason roundtable on Tuesday. We'll talk about the Rossoneri, their prospects heading into the upcoming season. Make sure you check me out, by the way, talking American sports, primarily noon Eastern time every weekday on the 5 Reasons Sports Network YouTube. We shoot the breeze there every single day. So, all right, that'll do it for this stream. We will talk to you guys again. Wow. And Manzi watching at 4 a.m. Thank you, sir. This was fun at 4 a.m. Thank you and good night, guys. Good night to you. We'll talk to you next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
That guy's right. Lautaro is a sell for Vlahovic. It's possible.
God.
Fuck Juve. Fuck Juve. Fuck Juve. Juve.